My mother died exactly 8 years ago, and on the day of her funeral, it poured with rain. I was standing by myself at the cemetery gates, freezing cold. "Excuse me, Rabbi, I'm here for the funeral of Elena Mitschmacher. My mother, Elena." "Yes, yes," and he with his megaphone. "The funeral of Elena Mitschmacher will now leave the..." Just a minute. "There's only you?" "Yes, why? Is anything the matter?" "Excuse me, ma'am, I really beg your pardon, but we need people. We need at least 10 men for the prayer." "Rabbi, she needed people when she was alive, too, but there weren't any." And he with his megaphone, "Moishele, Moishele, gib mal hier. Geh sog Yankele, soll sagen Schimmele, soll zusammennehmen a minion, yes, and tell them to hurry up." Within minutes, 10 men appeared from all over the cemetery: the gardener, the guard, the men who washed the bodies, the stretcher bearers, and the driver of the van into which we were all ordered by the rabbi, together with Elena, and off we drove at top speed between the gravestones, me, my mother's body, and 10 black-hatted men, who were as like as 10 peas in a pod, humming prayers and emanations, their bodies swaying incessantly, and it was cold and crowded, and I was scared that my mother would suddenly wake up and shout, "Quiet! Who are you humming to? He's deaf. He hasn't heard the thing for years." Without understanding how, I find myself driving to the old neighborhood. Here my mother lived in the big city, in a drab neighborhood with no castle. And here she raised me on her own on the corner of Victory and Bravery Street. Today it's called Shalom Boulevard, Peace Boulevard. Mama used to say, victory, bravery, shalom. What a cheerful nation. One day when I was a child, I was walking down the street with my mother, and as we turned to General Moshe Dayan Street, a young man came up to us and asked, "Excuse me, ma'am, are you from around here?" "No," Mama replied, "I'm from there." She didn't point anywhere. Excuse me, what street is this? This? Janusz Korczak Street. Well, the man looked around for a moment and then says, but ma'am, it says over there that it's General Moshe Dayan Street." "Yes, well, everyone has his own heroes." And we crossed the street, and I wanted the earth to open up and swallow me. I prayed that we'd get run over. What I actually wanted is for her to die, so I could grow in peace and quiet without being embarrassed in some kibbutz orphanage with green grass, yellow sun, red roofs. I arrange the house for the 7 days of mourning just as Mama wanted it, and on the corner I find, as always, a box of matches and a memorial candle. "Mommy, why do you light memorial candles every evening? Memorial candles cost less than electricity. When I run out of money, I light candles." "Good night, Elizabeth." "Good night, Mommy." She thinks I can't see her weeping. I lit the candle and thought that In our family, instead of birthdays with candles on the cake, we always celebrated the anniversary of everybody's death with memorial candles. Look, Elizabeth, tomorrow a stranger will be coming to live with us. Why? What happened? He's working in Tel Aviv and he's renting a room with us. It's good for your development. And I hope that Gamzu won't call me in anymore. Besides, if you have to say he's your father, I'll say he's my husband, and that way nobody will ask any questions. A few days later, a man with a big suitcase arrived, settled into our living room. Most of the time was silent, but every morning, very early in the morning, he was shaving. He shaved with a modern electric shaver that made a noise that woke Mama and me very early in the morning, and we cursed Nurse Carmela, but the neighbors no longer asked, Helena, why don't you get married? And nobody shouted at me, Elizabeth, your father's dead. And Carmela Gamzu was happy, and our bank account grew. And the man, he was silent most of the time, till one day a kid from the neighborhood said, hey you, your daughter's in the park. Are you talking to me? Yes, you're Elizabeth's father, aren't you? No, not that I know of. And next day again, our neighbor met him. Shalom, I just have seen your wife at the grocery. She was buying lots of goodies for supper. So enjoy, bye-bye. He came home. Neighborhood of lunatics. Lunatics, they fixed me up with a daughter, a wife, and a damn zoo. I hate animals. I just hate animals. Got up, took his things, fled the apartment, and he was in such a hurry that he forgot his shaver. Since then, every time a stranger came into our apartment, Mama used to put the shaver in a prominent place, so they won't know that a widow and her fatherless child live in the apartment. In another suitcase, I come across crumbling photographs of relatives, perhaps. Elizabeth, don't just put photographs into the album that won't do any harm. What can they harm, Mama? Who can they harm? And then I noticed that all the people in the photographs are blonde and blue-eyed. Mama too. But Mama had brown eyes. She had painted every brown eye with blue ink. All the rest, Elizabeth, are in the chocolate boxes. Why chocolate boxes? Because that's where you hide people who've got chocolate-colored eyes and hair. Just to be